Hello everyone, welcome back to the second session on Introduction to Strategic Technology Management. I am Bhaspati Adhikari, Assistant Professor from the Department of Business Administration, USTM. In the previous session, we already had discussed about the basics of technology, its definitions, and the different types of technology, how it is connected to business and knowledge generation in general. So, in the upcoming session, we will be focusing on the technology and its association with economic goals. Technology is something that is continuously evolving. Over the years, technology has evolved extensively. The diagram itself is a proof to that, how over the years technology has evolved, and with the emergence of new technology, a new age have started. As in the beginning, at the very early stage, it was Stone Age, then Bronze Age, Iron Age. Over the years, with the invention of electricity, there was Electricity Age. With the invention of nuclear weapons, there was Nuclear Age. Then we have the Information Age, Biotech Age, and as of now, we are handling with artificial intelligence. So we could say we are in the era of artificial intelligence age. So every now and then there's a new innovation coming up, new technologies are emerging, and one of that specific technology could set the direction of an era or set the direction of an age. Based on past evidences, we could clearly say that technology has always played a major role in creating the wealth of nations and influencing the standards of living and quality of life. Technology has had such a profound effect on human lives. The progress of civilization is frequently identified by the dominant technology of the age. The civilizations were built around the use of innovative technology, and some vanished when they lagged in technology. Technology empowers people in both war and peace. It can be used for the good of humanity or for its destruction. People have a choice between good and evil uses of technology. Over the years, technology played a very crucial role, and how depending a technology remains relevant till it is useful to the mankind. By the point when the technology is no longer useful for the mankind, a new technology is going to replace it, and a new era will set. A very basic example that I would like to use in this scenario is the communication services, telephones. In the earlier times, if you see the history of how telephones, handset have evolved, we could see how the transition have happened and how technology has slowly improved, and now we cannot think of going back to a landline service, giving up our smartphones or mobile phones and stick back to our old style landline phones, because initially it was landline. Initially there was no effective communication measure available for the households. Initially the telephones were discovered, and if we had to think it from the commercial point of view, there were different PCOs or telephone booths available across the cities, from where, in exchange of money, an individual could make a call to someone that they know. But obviously, this was not very effective. People were not very satisfied with the setup, so they were focusing on having some sort of communication devices in their household, and there was commercialized landline services were made available in the different households depending on their affordability. And at one point, every household had a landline number. But when we talk about landline services, landline phones had to be placed in one corner of the household, and whoever wants to call someone will have to come to that landline handset and make a call from it. It was completely wired. So if say a woman is cooking in the kitchen and there is an urgent call, she will have to keep everything aside and come and receive the call, which was causing inconvenience over the time. So because this inconvenience resulted as an opportunity for the technology innovation, and the landline handsets were replaced by cordless handsets. So now, within the household, a facility or flexibility have been given to the users, so that they could take the handset and move around the household. This gave them some sort of flexibility or mobility within the household. With this, the demand for the consumers increased, and now people wanted some sort of communicating devices which they could carry in their pocket and move around. And there comes the concept of mobile phone. mobile phone, initially the mobile phones were very expensive. There was charges for incoming calls as well as outgoing calls, which we cannot think now, in today's time. But initially when mobile phones were made available, you will have to pay for the incoming calls as well as for the outgoing calls. Now then, over the time, technology was developed, and the technology for mobile phone was simplified. It was produced in mass, so the price of the mobile phones came down. But over the years, mobile phone become a part of the individuals. But slowly, that moving gadget was not enough to fulfill their own needs. So people started thinking of how the same mobile phone could be of multiple users. In the initial mobile phones, the screen was very small. You could barely see the name or contact number, or you could somehow write the message to send it to someone. Slowly, the mobile phone making companies started developing different designs of mobile phones, increasing the display size slowly but gradually. And at one point, they came up with the concept, or they come up with a technology where the whole handset could be of a screen, and using of that handset or using of the mobile phone could become touchscreen. So that was a technology innovation that happened, which set a major trend or reset the course of the communication devices. There comes the smartphones, and with that, we over the years, how the smartphone has evolved, we all have seen. Initially, the touchscreen phones with a very wide screen and basic features were available. Now, later on, high quality cameras, music systems, and other facilities were added to the smartphones. And now there are different variations of the same smartphones are available, and there are so many features are added to the smartphone that we could barely list out all those features and highlights. So as you can see, over the years, technology played a big role in the human life. Earlier, we were satisfied with the PCO or telephone booths or the coin PCOs. Now we have no idea, the new generation have no idea what these PCOs are. Or we cannot think of going back to the landline handsets that we used to have in our household. So the evolution of technology has greatly impacted the human lives. Similarly, during the war situations also, technologies has been utilized. The nuclear weapons, the atomic weapons that has been developed were also a part of innovation or technological innovation. But instead of making human life easier, those technologies have actually bring in havoc to the individuals or to the society in general. So like every other thing, technology also had its good side and its bad side. So it is up to the individuals, it is up to the society what they decided to use the technology for, whether they want to bring out the good of technology or whether they wanted to use it for able purposes. That determines the utilization of technology or the course of the technology in the long run. The utilization of technology could either turn out to be good or evil, but behind both types of endeavors, the major motivation has always been the eternal human desire to create wealth and to improve the living condition. When the basic needs for survival were met, artisans used to develop the handicrafts and simple products, traded them in the open markets. Societies then develop loose business practices where someone will produce something and someone else requires, and everyone becomes a customer of someone else. In the primitive society, the productions were achieved in the manual labor. It is very limited, and the economy was mostly agricultural. It was not until the 18th century, with industrial revolution, about a mere 200 years ago, a radical technological innovation created a major transformation in the way people live and do businesses. With the industrial revolution, factory system was born and mass productions take over the market. Technology transferred many agriculture-based economies to industry-based economies. More wealth was created from these industrialized countries, and by utilizing the different technologies available and converting the resources easily to different types of marketable products, the result was an improvement in the quality of life, and there is a huge market increase in the products and services available to the citizens in the market of the industrial. Beginning of this session, we have been clearly emphasizing that technology has a big role in the creation of wealth, but the question is how. How technology could contribute to the creation of wealth. Adam Smith, the British philosopher and economist, argued that the capital is best employed for the production of wealth, that each nation should produce the goods in which it has absolute advantage, that is, the ones it can produce more efficiently than other countries can, and that market forces and free trade, not government control, should determine the direction, volume, composition of international trade and distribution of wealth, the so-called laissez-faire doctrine. Economists have debated the value of technology in the modern societies for years. Economic growth is determined by the rate of change in per capita real gross domestic product, inflation adjusted GDP. When a nation grows economically, its citizens must be better off in some way. Growth in real GDP per capita reflects the improvement in citizens' material well being. An embodied assumption in many studies of economic growth is that society has scarce resources and a limited choice of production alternatives, and therefore the trade-off must be made. Production possibilities are considered under the assumption that technology does not change radically over the time period under study. Under these conditions, and for any given rate of saving and investment, living standards can rise only through increased worker productivity. Productivity growth means that it is possible to obtain more output from the same amount of input. Boskin Law 1992 indicate that the three principal resources of nation's economic growth are enhanced capital, labor, and technical progress, or equivalently, total factor productivity. Capital can be defined as goods and services used to produce other goods and services. It includes machines, buildings, tools, and improvements to natural resources. Labor represents the productive contributions made by all people who work. This is the human resource or human capital that we usually talk about. Improvements to labor occurs with education, training, and acquiring new skills. The growth rate of physical and human capital combined with technical progress accounts for a significant portion of the economic growth of nations. The US National Science and Technology Council, in its report Technology in the National Interest 1996, emphasized that technology is the engine of economic growth. It reported that performance of individual companies, the agent through which economic growth occurs, is strongly linked to the use of technology. The use of technology has been proven to enhance manufacturing in every performance category. The technology also triggers another mechanism of economic growth. Through this mechanism, emerging and new technology spurs economic expansion. In traditional economic literature, this is known as the long wave or long economic cycle. Betts 1987 suggested that the process behind a long wave is an interaction between new technology, business opportunities, and the new technology creates an eventual overbuilding of capital after the technology ages. He suggested the following sequence of events for long wave process. The long wave economic cycle gets triggered when there is a new discovery in science that creates a phenomenal base for a new technological innovation. Every time when there is a new scientific innovation, that innovation, one way or another, turns out to be the base for some sort of technological advancement or technological development. The radical, this technological innovation which is radical and basic in nature, is utilized for creating new products. These products will create, obviously, since the technology is new, and out of this technology, new products will be built or developed. These products will create a new market and will open up opportunities for new industries. These new industries will continue to innovate in products and processes and will try their level best to expand their business markets or expand their business in terms of expanding markets. As the technology matures, many competitors will also enter into the same industry. As a result, so far, the market leaders or those who are gaining the profit of monopolistic nature market with the entry of new competitors or new competitors into the same industry will will result in excess production capacity. As a result of this excess capacity, capacity in terms of production, profitability will be extensively compromised, and the chances of business failure also increases. And since with the increase in the level of business failure, many organizations or businesses will have to shut down their operations, leading to unemployment, as many of the organizations will have to let go of their employees, which will result in extensive amount of unemployment in the due course of time. Due to this business failures and subsequent unemployment happening in the markets, subsequent economic turmoil in the financial market will also arise. Unemployment will lead to the limited earning of the individuals or households, leading to limited investments or limited savings. So financial market will be obviously triggered or hampered by this turmoil happening in terms of the business failures and loss of job. And this subsequent economic turmoil in financial market will lead to the depression in the economy. Because of this depression, once the depression starts, the industries and the scientists will try to find new ways to tackle this depression or come up from this depression cycle, and as a result of this extensive effort, a new science or new invention will come up from the different corners of the world, which will again create the base for a new technological innovation, leading to the beginning of the long wave economic cycle, repeating the whole cycle in a cyclic way, the whole cycle once again, and which continues again and again over the years. Obviously, the long wave economic cycle is very evident. It is bound to happen with emergence of any new technology, but the duration of every long wave economic cycle will depend how the technology has developed over the years, and how the market or how the different competitors or other industries adopt the technology for the business purposes. But one way or another, every time there's a new invention from the science, will be utilized for developing some sort of technological innovation, which will be used for developing new products. The new product will open new industries, and the industry will try to expand their market as much as possible with integrating new innovations into the process. Considering the new opportunities, other competitors will enter the market. They will also start producing the similar products using the similar technology, and market will be saturated. Because of a saturated market with high production capacity, there will be limited profitability, and the business will suffer losses over the due course of time. Some business who will not be able to sustain that losses will have to shut down their businesses. As a result, people will be fired from their job. They will lose their employment or earning opportunities, and because of this turmoil, there will be limited circulation of currencies or money in the market, hampering the financial market globally. And this turmoil in the financial market may lead to depression, depending on the intensity of the turmoil. And the depression, then the whole focus will be on handling the depression, in order to address the depression, or in order to find how we can tackle or uh, uh, come over this depression, will lead to a new science invention, and the invention will again start the cycle from the very beginning. According to Betts, cutting-edge technology is behind a long economic activity. High technology products displace the old technology when there is a justification for performance over cost. Technology life cycles of industries affect long cycles in the national economy. New technology comes from science, and science comes from new discoveries in nature. A new technology, when created, will begin a new wave eventually. Now comes how technology and national economy are connected. Developed economies, we all know that there are developed economies, there are developing economies, and there are underdeveloped economies. But in terms of technology, if you had to define the economies, developed economies are those countries that has been able to properly utilize the technology for wealth creation. Less developed or underdeveloped economies are those countries which have not been able to utilize the technological know-how in the most appropriate way to create wealth for their nation. It is not the technology itself that creates the wealth, rather it is the appropriate and effective use of those technology. Just having the technology is not enough until and unless you don't know how to utilize that technology to its best potential level. When technology is applied to add value to resources, provide marketable products and services, then only wealth could be created and increased. Two such prominent examples in modern history are Japan's and Germany's recent success in the world markets and the subsequent economic prosperity. Even though the United States still has the greatest technological age in the world, Japan and Germany have been able to manage their resources and technological systems better in recent years, that have able to achieve economic advantages over US and other countries. It is important here to note that the proper management of technology encompasses all levels of technology from low tech to super high tech. So it is up to the wealth creation or the best outcome of utilizing technology will depend on how the technology has been utilized or how the technology has been managed. Properly managing a low technology could also result in wealth creations of immense amount. You don't It is not necessary that you will have to handle or you will have to utilize high tech or super high tech technologies for better wealth creation or significant contribution to the businesses. Certainly, managing technology well at high and it may create a greater reward in terms of improvement in the standard of living. However, proper management of low and medium level technologies can also create a certain competitive advantages and be effectively used for wealth creation by different organizations or different nations in general. In support of this, one can observe the economic growth of newly industrialized countries, particularly those called the tigers of Asia, such as Taiwan, Korea, Singapore, and Malaysia. They have been aided by cheap labor and fewer regulatory restrictions than exist in highly industrialized countries such as the United States. Yet these factors are recognized advantages that must be mitigated in a fundamental strategy for global management of technology. So we have come to the end of the second session where we have discussed about how technology is contributing to the national economy or how wealth creation is connected to the proper utilization of technology or how technology and wealth creations are closely knit in the economic cycle existing across the globe. In the upcoming sessions, we will further discuss on how technological strategy and core competencies are aligned and how technology strategy framework had to be designed to garner the maximum benefit out of any technology that is appropriate for the organization. Thank you.